Hi guys, it's David, lead singer of the band Harvestmen, and I wanted to do this 10th video of the series to show the best way to get gigs. And in a city like this, New York, basically a few years ago, back in 2012, I was booking this Sam Ash tour where basically we would go to all the Sam Ash stores, and it's a really good idea because they have really good equipment. So I'm in New York right now, so I called the Sam Ash and found out that they took out the stage. So one of the main free venues that you could go and play at are no longer, accepting musicians. So it's one of those things that you have to really look at, especially if you're planning a tour, because things change so often in the music industry. So let's just say you book a tour for 2021, and all of the venues that you wanted to book suddenly either close or change their policy. This happens a lot with stores. It's always good to jump on the opportunity when you have it, because if I would have gone in 2012, the stage would have been there and I would have been able to play a very professional show for close to free, other than just getting to New York itself. So there's another thing that I was going to do back in 2012, and that was a Hot Topic tour. And believe it or not, they allow Christian musicians to come. So I was like, okay, we're going to be a Christian band and we're going to go to Hot Topic and we're going to, preach the gospel. We'd also be able to sell our t-shirts. And they were even talking about having sign a deal to have our t-shirts included in the stores. So all of that was great. But then in 2014, they sold the company and basically got new leadership, and they canceled the musicians being able to come and perform. So that left us with not being able to fulfill the tour or the t-shirt offer. So I always look back as how different would life be if we would have gone on that Sam Ash tour and if we would have gone on the Hot Topic tour. And the thing is, things would have been very different as far as exposure. But I wasn't just going to go to the Sam Ash. There were going to be a lot of other venues. There was about 3 churches, and I kid you not, all of these churches eventually canceled the show. So I had this big, I was 18, but I had this big show plan where we were going to go to Sam Ash and 3 other churches. One of them, they said that the building canceled their lease, so they were going to have to move. That was the reason. The other one said that, they spoke with the pastors and they decided to change their mind. I even offered for youth groups, and it was still the same thing. So at that point, everything was just kind of, dead in the water, and I was going to restructure and come back the next year. So that ended up not happening because, as you know, Hot Topic stopped the music program. And then, of course, years later, I found out about Sam Ash removing their stage. But especially during COVID, I was at this steakhouse in Midtown. It was 2 days ago. And I talked to one of the locals, and they were saying that music venues are very good here, just not during COVID time. So there's this place right next door to the hotel that I'm staying at, and they have this really nice outdoor music experience, but you have to bring your own instruments, and the governor only allows musicians to play outside. So I brought a guitar on this trip, but I did not bring my keyboard set up because it would have been heavy and it would have cost a lot of money to move. So I decided to just stick with doing videos on this trip. But I'm saying this because of next time. In the future, musicians basically have free reign of the city. I don't think that I would be the type of musician to go and play on the subway or to put out a bucket. But if you decide to do that, it's very lucrative because people make hundreds of dollars doing that. And the reason why I say that is because I've done it before in Nashville, and I only made $5 a day. And that was for a 4-hour day because just no one was tipping. It was during the recession. In a city like New York, it's probably different. But that's also why I wanted to build a stage, get a frickin' Honda generator, one of the quiet ones, and just go out with a 40-foot long stage in the middle of Nashville or New York or wherever, and have enough musicians that understand that we're splitting the tips, and then we can play and do a good show with professional lighting, professional sound, and everything will just be available for the people to enjoy, and they can decide to tip or buy t-shirts as they want. And I'm not sure if we talked about merchandise much, but since this is the last episode, I just wanted to say, when I was going to Belize, the most important thing that I decided to buy were wristbands, and they were about 30 cents a wristband after, the shipping was free, but after the purchase. And what I realized when I went to Belize is there were not a lot of people well, I gave them to my friends, but there were not a lot of people who were like, "Oh, you're in a band. I would like to buy your wristbands," because it was a very poor country. And the thing is that even if I were to sell it for one Belize dollar, which is what they would be able to afford, that would still be 50 cents. So I'd be making like 20 cents, so it wouldn't be much. So what I learned with wristbands are people, fans especially, like I was at the airport when I was going to London and saying, "Listen, I'm going to London." They're like, "That's very cool. Do you have a business card?" I personally don't believe in business cards because it seems so much more. No, I'm going to sound like one of those hippies, but I'm not. I promise you. Very much Republican. But when it comes to music, a lot of the music industry deals with talking to people on a relationship level. All of the venues that I booked in New Smyrna Beach were just me going, showing up, them saying, "Where's your phone number? Here's my phone number, here's my email address," and you send all of your videos electronically through email, you send YouTube clips, and you build a relationship with them. And I think that it's a very good thing to do and a very good way to do that. But what happens is, I believe when you hand out a business card, things are more passive. It's like, yes, oh, I met this musician, he was really nice. The only good thing about business cards is they can look up your number years later, but a lot of times things change. But anyways, I wanted to share these tips with you guys. Ultimately, buy merchandise, try to do your tours before something goes crazy wrong with the venue. A lot of people experienced that in 2012. So if you guys have any questions, be sure and leave it in the comments. And this is wrapping up the 10th video. Once again, we're here in New York City, and there's a lot of good videos that are going to be coming. I filmed about 6 while I was here, and I'm going to go down to Wall Street and film another one tomorrow. So I hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you next time.